Hi, I'm Taralyn Vico with Board on Blues. I'm here today with Oliver Mann, producer of Such a Funny Life, as well as his newest film, HERO.LOSS.DIRT, where I am an executive producer. Oliver, do you remember the day that you and I met?
I do. October
Yeah.
31st of 2022.
Wow, you are right. We did through the power of LinkedIn. We made this connection on, definitely on October 31st, and such a delightful treat for me. And from that, I know we started talking, and then I got to watch your film, Such a Funny Life. So incredibly moved, so impactful. And so when you told me about Hero Lost Dirt, I just knew I wanted somehow to be a part of it, even if it was just supporting you from the sidelines. Never would have
Right.
thought it would have. Here we are now, to where we transpired. So I just kind of wanted to ask you a few questions, just so people could, get to know you a little bit better, because I've gotten to know
Sure.
you through time. And just Oliver, at what point did you decide that you wanted to make films?
That's a great question. I would probably say, I was always creative. I started off
Mhm.
writing as a teenager, around 16 or 17. I just started writing. I started to write short stories. I started to write songs, different genres of songs, but I just wanted to give it a shot and see if I can put stories together. And other friends used to tell me, this is pretty cool the different stories that you have in this songwriting manner. So I guess in a sense, I was always creative. And then I was also in the military and I started to delve more into songwriting. So I thought to myself, maybe I see music and the whole creative field perhaps this is part of my career. Somehow I'm going to delve on over to
Mhm.
what I was doing in the military to jump into the creative field. So saying that, it really started off as a teenager, and then from there I just started to write. I started to do various things to practice my creative craft. So it hasn't stopped since then. It's only elevated, and now here I am, a film director, which I can't believe I am, but I am.
Well, it definitely did elevate. I mean, you are very accomplished with Such a Funny Life. And so, yeah, we'll go with it surely did elevate. So, describe to me, the people that had impact on your film, meaning like from, on different levels. Like, who was the first person that just impacted you on, yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say starting off when I was an extra on a film called Pride and Glory. I never will forget the day I was an extra. I applied to be an extra on Craigslist. I got my headshot. It was my first month in New York. I graduated from Full Sail when I finally decided, and just going back to your other question, when I finally decided, yeah, after I graduated from Full Sail, I decided, I want to be a film director. This is what I want to do. I want to write scripts. I want to make a movie because it encompasses everything that I was studying, which was music, which was editing for film post-production. I had to figure out a way that I could combine all of those things. So I thought to myself, I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to start off from the bottom, because what other option did I have? So I decided to get headshots because I knew that's what you had to do to go on a movie set and have an agent and stuff like that. I didn't know if I was going to be an actor. I just know I wanted to be involved in the film world. So the only option that I had that I saw back then was to be an extra. So I was an extra on Pride and Glory. It was a 2 a.m. film set. We were outside. It was freezing cold. It was for a football scene. And I remember I was just sitting there. And I want to say being an extra is very, very important. But I knew that I wanted to do something else. I wanted to be more involved with the actual direct making of the film. So I reached out to the second AD, and the second AD is the second assistant director. They're in charge of making sure all of the extras are doing what they need to do, making sure they're accounted for, making sure that they are part of the film accordingly. Where the director is doing the exact same thing, but with the lead
Mhm.
cast. So I thought to myself, well, maybe I can work on set. How do I do that? I'm gonna pull her by her coat and maybe
Mhm.
touch her on her shoulder and ask her. I forgot her name, but it was life changing because I
Right.
asked her, "Hey, after this scene is over and I finish being an extra, do you think I can help you guys do whatever you're doing?
Mhm.
Maybe help out with the electrical department? Do you think I can help you pack the trucks with the props or anything that you need help where I can feel like I'm actually working and being a crew member?" She said, "Sure, if you're willing to work overnight until 5 or 6 a.m. or maybe even 7 a.m. with no sleep and coffee, you can do that. And I said, yep, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I was born to do. And since then, I've been addicted to being on film sets and being addicted to being on a crew member on film sets. So it started off from that moment. And another moment way down the timeline is around 2019 when Such a Funny Life was in the theaters. And I saw an audience watch Such a Funny Life and how impacted they were by it. That was another moment where it was life-changing, and it just changed it was a trajectory, and it changed me in a sense of, wow, this really affected me. So those are just two of the moments out of many that I can talk about.
Those are two great moments, and I can completely resonate with the people in the audience that they were impacted, because it is a very impactful film. Absolutely. So what would you say would be your most significant moment in film when making the film?
Yeah, my most significant moment would definitely, it's really the reward at the end. The reward at the end is the people watching the film. That is so significant that it's so powerful. It's the moments, the very difficult moments of developing the film, as we know, which is very tough because you're just working on the idea of creating a fictional piece, putting these
Right.
characters to be in a movie, which is absolutely absurd until it's not absurd. So working on that, directing the film, which is absolutely nuts. Post-production, which now I find out is just as difficult and an amazing art as shooting the film. But I go back to watching audience members in the film. That is just it's so grand. That is the one thing that really has changed my perspective, and it's the one thing that makes us work so hard on Hero Lost Dirt, because we want that same experience, and we want to please the mass amount of people that are out there, if not millions. And I say that, and I'm not exaggerating, but I see this film being big in it. And I think that really goes back to that question of, what is that moment? And that's a very huge moment. And that's what I aim for.
Well, that's an excellent aim. And I do agree with you that it is definitely going to impact millions. Hero.LOSS.DIRT. Dirt. Absolutely. I agree with you. So what would you say that if you're going to talk to people about, the film, of when you hit the moment of you wondered, why am I doing this? Was there ever a point of you felt like just giving up, when you were doing Such a Funny Life, and what was the reasons why, and then what got you through it?
Admittedly so. There was moments, plenty of moments. There's one specific moment that I absolutely remember. There was a moment where I just thought to myself, wow, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I really a film director? I mean, that position sounds so grandiose. It sounds so lofty. And before that moment, I was directing short films. I did direct short films. They were already out. So yes, I was directing short films, and I released a couple short films, and it was tough. It was definitely tough. It was me still directing films, but now I'm doing a bigger film, and it's considered a feature film, which means it's 6 times the work, right? Because we're calculating the minutes. So now it's a big, huge film. So I would probably say the moment of developing the film, and I just couldn't figure out how to finance the film because I didn't have any financiers. It was all through self-funding. Right. And I say that now, that it was all through self-funding, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm not meant to do this. Maybe I need to figure out something else to do, because doing a feature film is a huge task. And it's a huge thing that only the strong survive until you reach deep into who you are and how to do that. And that's exactly what I did. I reached deep into myself after a couple glasses of wine and a huge hangover the following day, after crying and brainstorming and thinking to myself, this is me, this isn't me, this is me, this isn't me. I landed on, guess what, on the following day, this is me.
It is definitely on that.
Yes, and when I landed on that, when I pulled out from the deep darkness and the light came through, I pulled out ways of, okay, let me take a deep breath. I got that out of my system. If you know there's something that you are meant to do, then you will find any way to do that. So I say this a lot, that when whether it's a startup business or if it's a product, which essentially is synonymous sometimes with a startup business, you reach deep down in yourself and you figure out how to make that that product flourish, or how to make that product. And that's exactly what I did by using my own personal assets. And that's what I did to fund that film. So before that moment, it was really tough to figure out what personal assets I have. And I found those, and it was tough. And then we did the film, and now I realize that was one of the moments that I questioned myself for sure. And thank God I did. Thank God I did. I never questioned myself the moment that I questioned myself at that time. It's never been that extreme.
Right.
There have been shades and moments, but nothing that deep. So I'm glad that I went there, to be honest, because now everything else is semi-light.
Right. It makes you very appreciative. And, through the power of networking, equity sourcing is definitely different than it was a few years ago. So,
Right.
let's believe that we're not going to have that. You don't have that same similar experience with HERO.LOSS.DIRT. Not at all. Tell me a little bit, Oliver, you have some same actors that were from Such a Funny Life that are coming into HERO.LOSS.DIRT. That says a lot about you as a producer. That the same people that would want to come back and to be with you again on set. Can you tell me a little bit of, why them? Because there's actors all over the place. Just a little bit about that, or a little bit about the actors in on with HERO.LOSS.DIRT.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone from Such a Funny Life. All the actors were tremendous in it. And I'm not just saying that. I really look at it from a third person point of view, how well the actors did. And hey, the critics say so. So I'm not the only one. The critics say so. And the reason why I say that is because obviously I can't bring everyone from Such a Funny Life to HERO.LOSS.DIRT, because I have characters that I just know fit specific actors from Such a Funny Life. And that's Gonzalo Trigueros, who's going to play Dirt. He's an immense talent. So the people that are watching this video, if you haven't seen Such a Funny Life, please do so. And you can see how this guy is going to be a star. In my mind, he's already a star, but he will be a star. And the same goes for two other actors, Jacques Pointe-de-Jour and Tom Ashton. We're figuring out what characters they're going to play. I have in mind more or less what characters they're going to play, but I just know that they're going to be in HERO.LOSS.DIRT. These are actors that we have a deep connection and a deep way of communicating on set to fulfill the character, and also the different ways of getting to that character, whether it's the good and the bad. So when you have that director and actor talk with an actor, you just know that, yeah, I have to bring them back, because I know any character I'm going to give them, that they're for sure they're going to embody that character, and they're going to execute and perform greatly. And with these three actors, I can't go wrong. So not only that, they are my friends. We happen to be friends because on set, that's huge. That's huge to get along with. In my mind, that's just my philosophy. I know that some people say, hey, you don't have to get along with the people that you work with. Guess what? Oliver Mann does. I do.
Well, you know what, Oliver, and you know what, there's other very well-known entertainers in Hollywood, and I'm not going to have to necessarily name drop, but they use a very similar formula, that they have same cast members, people that are their friends that are in films and, certain TV shows. So that shows a lot about, your belief in them as well, and just, bringing people up along the way in your journey too, And I absolutely know that each one of the actors, we're going to look back on this one day and we're like, yep, we knew them from the beginning, that they will definitely be household names, besides yourself as well, Oliver Mann. Yeah. Absolutely. So I have one other thing to ask you here, Oliver. It's a little bit of a quirky question. If you could be any member of a family TV sitcom, what sitcom would it be?
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. This is going to sound bad. This is going to sound bad.
Okay.
This is going to sound bad. I'm going to go with Jack Tripper from Three's Company.
I love it.
Okay. Now hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
I know he had a lot of girlfriends. I know he dated a lot, but let's get past that. Jack, every episode, Jack had a problem he had to solve. There was action, there was drama, there was suspense, and Jack was the main character. So sometimes it didn't only involve having the girlfriend that he had to hide from another girl in the room. But I say Jack Tripper because Three's Company really I've watched so many episodes, and that really, really affected me as a kid as far as learning the art of storytelling and learning the different acts, learning the different beats of having a problem, character
Mhm.
development, solving that problem, and not only that, doing that in 26 minutes. And I say 26 minutes because of commercials, right? So
Mhm.
minus 30 minutes, minus 4 minutes, because I remember commercials were pretty darn good back then as well.
Yeah, they
But
were.
yeah, yeah. So I would probably say that. I mean, Three's Company was just an amazing show. There was so much chaos going on in every
It
episode, and Jack
was.
Tripper was the lead actor of all the chaos.
Mhm.
So, vicariously would be interesting to to live through Jack, where he wakes up and say, "Well, what the heck am I gonna face? What the heck am I gonna face today?" And intrinsically, I would probably say, like most great characters and most great writers, I write characters like that have a problem, that need to solve that problem, and sometimes it's solvable and sometimes it's not. So I do, and not only that, that reflects real life. That's what happens in real life.
Mhm.
I mean, think about it. Every day we wake up and we think to ourselves, well, what do I have to do today? What do I
Mhm.
have to do today? What do I have to solve today? So that's just another form of character development, and I extract that from great shows like that, great characters like
Mhm.
that, and from real life. So that answers that question, I believe.
Wow, it be more than answers the question. And certainly, I don't know what sitcom I was thinking, but Jack Tripper is excellent. I love it. I love it. Well, Oliver, it has just been so wonderful to get to know you a little bit more, or for our people to know you a little bit more, and just to give us your background and just, Hero Lost Dirt. Anything further you'd like to just wrap up with?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you so much to all the people that are watching this video, and we are excited for you to perhaps be a part of Hero Lost Dirt, something that's going to be an amazing film, very impactful. We believe it's going to be a success. We have a
Absolutely.
great team backing up this film. We're doing
Yes.
all the key necessary things to make this a success, and it's going to be just an amazing film. The same way that Such a Funny Life impacted people, and hopefully
Right.
it impacted you if you're watching this. Just imagine Hero Lost Dirt. It's going to be that times, who knows how many times, but believe me, it's going to be an amazing journey, and we want you to take that journey with us.
Definitely. Well, thank you all so much. Oliver, thank you so much. And, Hero Lost Dirt, here we come.